TV screens to dinner tables, wine has been integrated throughout cultures across the globe for thousands of years. The United States is the largest wine importer by volume and value, with most varieties coming from European countries. But there's a domestic shift underway in the world of wine. Nancy Chen is here with more. Nancy, good morning.
Hey, Dana, good morning to you. How does this sound? A New Jersey Chardonnay, an Arizona Viognier, a Texas Cab. Far from being curiosities, they are the proud products of award-winning wine regions, growing not only in size, but also prestige. And with wine now made in all 50 states, we headed to Texas to find out what it takes to grow a good glass of vino. Far from the valleys of Napa and Syrahs of Sonoma, longhorns and grapevines instead define the landscape here, deep in the heart of Texas. About 80 miles west of Austin, this is Texas Hill Country. Nearly 450 wine producers and countless glasses poured.
All right, you ready? Yes.
Yeah.
A bold idea that took plenty of imagination in the land of ranchers and cowboys. When you first told people in the wine industry that you wanted to grow Texas wine, what did they say?
They said, well, good luck.
Bill Blackman was part of the first wave of Texas winemakers. His family grew cotton and sorghum for more than 60 years before he planted his first vine here in 1996. What was it like then?
Most of it was learning how to grow grapes. How do you farm this crop in Texas? And the challenges there are here, and there's a lot of them.
With each varietal requiring different climate and soil conditions, that list could sometimes seem insurmountable, and success far from guaranteed. Why out of everything did you choose grapes?
It was, I think, the challenge of being able to grow that crop and produce that bottle that, you know, made people happy and made people understand what farming can be.
3 years typically stand between planting and the first harvest worthy of wine. For Blackman, it took 12.
The real success was when we bottled that first 2008 vintage. We had 400 cases, and we sold it right out of this little farmhouse, and it was just sold because it was a wine that could stand up to any other region.
And could it? In 2022, the winery he established, William Chris Vineyards, was named one of the world's top 100, one of just 7 in the U.S., a feat they repeated last year. When we talk about Texas wine, what does Texas wine taste like?
Badass and delicious.
Chris Brundrett is Blackman's partner.
It's what they got to watch too, Chris, right there.
Yeah.
The Chris and William Chris, who turned down offers out west to pioneer something new.
Back then I really saw that something really amazing was happening in Texas, and I didn't want to miss it. And the wine scene now looks dramatically different than it did 15 and 10 and even 5 years ago. I think it's really important that the world knows what we're doing here.
They've noticed the area recently listed by Wine Enthusiast as one of the top up-and-coming wine regions in the world. The only other mention in North America, New Jersey. The land of Springsteen and the Sopranos, attracting even those from unexpected backgrounds. You're from a family of winemakers. You grew up in Bordeaux.
Yeah.
What are you doing here in Jersey?
I like the challenge, the experience. And
Edward Sparks is the assistant winemaker at Whitehorse Winery. The French native first moved to the States to explore the American style of wine. But what kept him was the appeal of making his own mark, as well as surprising local visitors.
We probably never thought that they can have a foreigner from France be in New Jersey for making wine. I probably that more inclined to try my wine because, okay, maybe these guys should know what he's doing because he's from France and stuff like that and over here.
Yeah, well, you seem like you do.
I try my best, yeah.
Sparks, part of a new wave of winemakers and consumers.
So the American wine scene is undergoing a huge generational shift right now.
Jason Wilson is the author of Godforsaken Grapes, which highlights wine around the world.
He notes younger consumers are more focused on how their wine is produced than where it's from.
For some people who may not know this area, they may scoff at the idea of good wine coming from New Jersey.
There's no reason that New Jersey shouldn't be able to grow decent wine. I mean, it's just a matter of figuring it all out.
Is it a matter of also just people being snooty about wine?
Yeah, 100%. People love to be snooty about wine. So New Jersey wine, could you imagine?
The Garden and Lone Star states aren't the only ones dreaming big, with respectable wine regions developing around the country. Wilson pinpoints the most promising as areas in Arizona, Michigan, Virginia, and New York.
Wine's this thing that people lose their mind about. It's all of this esoteric knowledge, and yet at the same time, it's just this beverage. They build wine up in a way that it doesn't need to be.
Wilson also says that while there are more than 1,400 varietals, the majority of the world's wine now comes from less than 30 of them, leaving many endangered. These developing vineyards, he says, could be a lifeline for the overlooked fruit and provide space for new styles as well.
It has to do with growing the right grapes in the right climate. A new wine region has to figure out, what does grow best here? Maybe it's a hybrid grape. Maybe it's some grape that isn't so popular. Everything is in an experimental stage right now.
A blend of a challenge and the appreciation for that perfect glass of vino, a spirit Blackman says he still savors back in Texas.
I mean, you've been doing this for decades now. What keeps you going?
It's still fun for me to do. I don't know, I think if you're looking for that one wine, too, that is just still hadn't been produced yet. That one vintage is like, oh my gosh, this is it.
What's really fun about this is that proximity of all these new tasting rooms is making it much more accessible for people to learn about wine, because wine can be a little intimidating if you don't know much about it. So,
no doubt.
In that vein, we have brought some of our findings to you. That side of the table is New Jersey wine.
New Jersey wines.
And we are the Texas side of wines, but we brought both a rosé and a cab. So let us know what you think.
Did you like Jersey or Texas more?
You know, that is a very good question. I think both were really great. It was really nice. The surroundings also added a lot to the taste of it.
All right. Nancy, thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.